It's been a while since I did a harvest, a pure harvest on the channel. I have a few things that I just want to just harvest out so that I can make some space for new things to plant. So some containers that I want to free up. There's some areas also in the raised bed that I need to free up. So we're going to be doing that today. Stick around and hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, thank you all so very much for joining in. This is Dylan from the Trini Gardeners channel, and I'm so happy that you're here for this video because you all sit through some of my boring videos where I'm just going through growing guides and talking about different types of ways to take care of your plants and pruning plants and fields. Sometimes it's nice to just win one and just see some stuff being harvested, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Here I have some pretty interesting plants because it's not something that you see people growing very often in Trinidad, even though we can grow them and we can grow them fairly well. These are beets, beetroot, and I grow them specifically for the leaves. I love the taste of the leaves of beetroot, the foliage. That's why I have them so close together. And I'm going to be harvesting just one or two for the root. These are not very big because I put them so close together. I put them close together because I want the leaves. But sometimes, even though I put them close together, beets will tolerate a bit of crowding in. So you can do a bit of high intensity planting, and that's what's happening here. I grew this inside of a, I think it's like an old tree. One of my neighbors had it and they just gave me to plant stuff in, and I said, well, beets generally don't have a super deep root system, just kind of a surface plant really. So I decided to plant in some beets, and I grew these from seed. You can't plant beets from seedling, but generally in the transplanting process, sorry about the wind, the beets can get a bit banged up, so I prefer to plant my beets from seed. These were all planted in from seed, just kind of broadcasting the seed, and I would just like harvest off the top for the leaves, and sometimes the leaves will grow back, or I'll just pull it out and just chop up the bit of the small root, but mainly cooking it for the leaves. Delicious, sauteed with onions, garlic and tomatoes. Really, really good. A little bit of lime juice as well. Amazing. Now if you're really concerned that your first time growing beets and you don't want to just pull it up and snap off the leaves, you can come in with a shovel like this, right, or a little fork, and just stick it in just behind the beet here, then raise it up and the entire beet will come up. That's an easy way to do it. But generally, especially when I know that these were planted for fairly shallow root planting, I know that it's going to be fine. So I can just come in and you see a little bit of a head. So this one is a little bit of a head. The rest I'm going to keep it in for the foliage as I said. But just right here, come in close to the base, you get a little grip on it, going to come up and you have a little beetroot. See that? And you see the stalk over here and the leaves. That's really what I want to get. This is just really, really good. Of course, the root is a superfood, amazing, really good for your blood. But these leaves, my goodness, I'll tell you, really, really good. I think I'm just going to take one more, which is on this side here. This side here, these were all cramped in as well, fairly close. Which one is bigger on these? I think this one is bigger of the two, even though they're both fairly small. There we are. There you go. So some beets. Really happy. The rest of the leaves here, I'll come in and just take that in just one go. This already is a lot of foliage, especially when you're eating it with other things. There we go. Okay. Already I know I'm going to have to get another basket. I have a big one, but I don't have it here right now. So I'm just going to start off with this. Right next to the beet, I have some celery. Now this celery has been growing inside of this tire here for a long time. I was supposed to remove it. I was supposed to get rid of all of it, and I just didn't have the heart to because it was growing so well. This has been here for months. Been here for months, and I've just been taking some of the bigger stalks out of it. With this, I don't like to pull out the beet, the celery directly. So I'll come in really with a nippers and just nip it out to not overly stress the plant. So over here, for instance, I would just come right in and try to get some of these outer stalks. Okay, up. There we are. Here, I probably have this for you all to see me. I have my hanging PVC planter. The DIY for this is right up here. Super easy to make, super cheap as well. And have some scythe in it right now. I plant all kind of things inside here. Recently I had some pak choy and some lettuce. I swapped out the pak choy and the lettuce for some scythe. Scythe, I generally will cut it, but not very deep at all. So I like to use these instead of just pinching it out. So let's take like over here. See that? So the sive is pretty still nice and intact. Smells amazing, amazing. Smells like omelets in the morning. Wow, really good, really nice, and it's really juicy inside here, which is important. The water content helps it to not taste overly bitter. It just has a nice, good fragrance. You have the massive sive, the ones that gets huge. I generally don't like those. You know, I find like these smaller ones, the garlickiness is just so much better. That's my word, garlickiness. There we are. These are planted in bunches because sive is very closely related and very often mistaken for bunching onions. So they do well planted together in like clumps. And of course now I can come back here like next 2 weeks and harvest more sive. This is going to continue growing. Follow on TikTok and you'll see when I post up those update videos. Now if you think this broccoli looks kind of weird, it's because this isn't the actual original broccoli. The original broccoli started somewhere over here. This is where the head was. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. And what I did, as I always recommend, is that you don't cut the entire plant when you're harvesting the head all the way at the base, which you all can't see right now. You don't do that. You cut the middle part now. This makes sense to the home gardener. The commercial gardener probably doesn't make sense, but for the home gardener, cut out the top part, the top head of your broccoli, which is the first part that's going to form a head. It takes some time, but once that head forms, cut out just that alone. Leave the side shoots because these here are side shoots. I'm not saying that you're going to get a massive harvest from the side shoots. What I am saying is that if you leave the side shoots, which were very tiny, now you have a nice little piece of broccoli that you could still use in your garden. And broccoli takes so long to form that head that it makes a lot of sense to make the most possible use out of the plant before you rip the entire thing out. So this, for me, in a chunky veg, is worth a lot because there's a time of the year, not just a time, there's often many times of the year when the price of broccoli is ridiculously high, and it is really nice to have a little bit of broccoli so that you don't have to go and buy. And that's my recommendation when it comes to harvesting broccoli. Now, if there's one thing that you can just spend about a few hours harvesting a buckload of, it's same that just keeps on producing. So I'm not going to harvest out all the same because it'll take us a very long time. I'm just going to take a few of these. We have same by the bags, just going to friends, neighbors, family, because it's just so much, and there's only so much same you could really eat. I've never been a massive fan of same anyways. Some same. I've been very careful with the birds because they have been wreaking havoc on some of the plants. They really like hot pepper. They really like hot pepper. So I recently went to a function, got tons of these bags. Had to ask around, but I got it from people who were finished with their treats. And I use it to protect these tomatoes from the birds. One, the smell of human is on this, so the birds aren't going to come around once they smell humans. And two, it allows air and water to freely pass through. You don't want any kind of stagnation, any kind of blockage between the containers having. There we go. There's one, nice and yellow. Number two, I sanitize this nippers. I sanitize these nippers between uses to not transfer any diseases from one plant to another. To do that, you just get some hydrogen peroxide, 3%, you get it pennywise at $10, and put it on a cloth and wipe the nippers with it. It's really helpful. Here, if I can undo the knot. The breeze here is crazy, so that's why I knot it up quite a lot. This basket is already full. I think I'm gonna have to bring the next basket, and I hope that will probably be enough. This is what we're looking like currently. Okay, so the nippers are sanitized one more time between the peppers and the tomatoes. You all knew that I was going to be coming in with the tomatoes pretty heavily after some time. I'm going to start off with these big rainbows, which you all have hopefully seen by now. Just look at the color on that. How cool is that? Perfectly ripened. You notice a tomato is really perfectly ripened when you can press in just gently on the skin and your fingerprint comes out. That's perfectly ripened tomato, ripened on the vine. There we go. Moving on to the Cherokee Purple. Cherokee purple is one that I need to be very careful with. It gets really soft when it's ripe. Look at the color on that. Perfectly ripened. Perfect, perfect, perfect. A bit of green, a bit of red, mostly purple. That's what I like to see. Cool. This shape here is very, very telltale of something derivative of the beefsteak variety. It's a type of beefsteak, but it's its own thing. One of the oldest stories with this tomato, the Cherokee purple, the Cherokee Indians teaching this to the pilgrims who had just come over from England. How you like that? There you go, this little baby Cherokee purple, but still good. I've grown smaller Cherokee purples than that, believe it or not. You all will remember the rumors. As the name suggests, it's an Italian variety. These didn't get too big. It's a paste tomato, really good for making a nice tomato sauce. Really toughish, meaty insides. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Now, so now it's these cherries, but you know, I don't want to put the cherries, mix the cherries in between. Not cherries, but this is the black vernissage, but I don't want to mix it in with the bigger ones, because that could be a recipe for disaster. Moving on to some moneymaker tomato. These are really, really ripe. I'm going to take this entire truss off. All of this from one truss. Really happy with it. Moneymaker tomato. These are all heirloom varieties, which means I can save the seeds and grow the exact same plant again next time I'm growing these. Again, I'm using my nippers so as not to overly tax the plant, not to overly stress out the plant, because these are still producing and there's more tomatoes on it to come. So I want the plant to be very happy with me, to be very fair to the plant. See, there's more moneymakers on it. There you go. I find the moneymaker is designed to be like a massive big cherry. I don't know if you agree with me with that. This Rio Grande tree, Rio Grande, big river tree, is all the way gone through. Didn't do very well in terms of surviving, but did produce quite a few, and I'm happy. This one is not doing so well, but it's an okay-ish tomato. I mean, heirloom, homegrown, is still going to taste really good, but to be honest, I find it didn't grow very well, and the taste honestly didn't really impress me so very much. You know, as an organic gardener, you always get the question, especially in Trinidad, where it's so common to use chemicals. Can you actually grow things without using any chemicals at all, just with cow manure or any kind of manure and soil? Is it really possible? And I hope this will serve as a motivation that you can stay 100% organic and feed yourself, feed your family, be self-sustainable, have your own food security. This is just a taste. I have other things, but I don't want to just harvest for the sake of just a video, because I also want to be able to harvest sensibly and be able to use the things. So things are still on the vine, things are still on the trees. I didn't get to the fruit trees like the zabuka and the mango and the plum, because that's something apart as well, but it's all there. And the point is that we don't have to overly do it when we do harvest, but I do want you to see what is possible when you go 100% organic in your garden, that you live in proportion with your place in nature. You let nature do what it has to do. You do what you have to do, but you don't interfere overly, and you feed yourself, you feed your family. So remember, if you know somebody who would be interested in growing their own food, they need some encouragement, feel free to share this video with them, or they maybe want to go and use chemicals, use something harmful in your garden. Show them what's possible when you stay 100% organic in their garden, and even if they have a fully concreted out area, they can still grow these things. Majority of these are growing on direct concrete, and they're still able to produce, and you're still able to have a garden. No matter if you live in an apartment, you live on the 18th floor somewhere, you're able to have a garden in in gardening, there is always a solution no matter what happens. There's always a way to garden. So remember, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and on Facebook. You'll see some of these same vegetables on there. And feel free to tag us on any of those platforms so that we can see what's happening in your garden. We're happy to share in your successes, to see in your fails, what we can do to help. And we're happy to just see what's going on with you and what's taking place with you, just spending time with yourself, spending time with nature, spending time with your friends and your family. Remember, as always, this has been Dylan from the Trini Gardeners channel, reminding you to get up and get growing. Take care.